Good to see you, Mick. How are you doing?
I'm okay. Yeah, I'm fine. Busy. Spending a lot of time in different villages in the area as part of the protective presence role with ISM. But yeah, I'm in good form. I'm in good form. Thank you.
Um, we keep seeing on the media, on Al Jazeera, anyway, over here, we're seeing there's a lot of violence in the West Bank. A lot of people have
Yeah,
died in the West Bank. Can you tell us
yeah,
what you've seen?
yeah. It is. It's a worsening situation, Chris. I mean, it really is. Since the 7th, 8th of October, events in Gaza and the onset of the war, the pre-existing process of ethnic cleansing, if you like, against Palestinians in many areas of the West Bank has escalated, and that's due to the violent activities of terrorist gangs of heavily armed illegal Israeli settlers, often backed up by the army. Some areas in particular, such as the area where I'm at now, called the South Hebron Hills, is an area which is particularly badly affected by the violence and by the escalating process of ethnic cleansing. So yeah, the situation has got worse. You rightly say that the number of deaths is shocking. I think since the 7th, 8th of October, there's been like 200 deaths in the West Bank, which are directly due to killings by either illegal settlers or the Israeli security forces. And then on top of that, hundreds and hundreds of people injured, often with life-changing injuries. So it is a picture of escalating violence. Yeah.
And have you seen that yourself? I mean, you haven't been in any danger yourself, have you?
Oh, I have seen it. Yeah, first time. Yes. I mean, the area I'm in is called the South Hebron Hills, which is right at the southernmost part of the West Bank. And it's an area where the indigenous Palestinian population has been under threat going back to the 1980s when the army declared the area a free fire zone. And since then, have been trying to force Palestinians off the land by evictions, forced displacement, forced transfer of population. Added to that, it's been an area which has seen a huge influx of illegal settlers, and they have been increasingly violent, and the measures that they've used to try and displace Palestinians. So it's got a history going back about 40 years of displacement and ethnic cleansing, but it's really escalated over the past few weeks. Just an example, I'm currently in the village of Wadi Jahesh, which is a small village, probably in the South Hebron Hills. We're here with other volunteers on what's called the protective presence, where we stay overnight at the villager's request, so that if there are any incursions by settlers or the army, we can try and help to monitor it, be witness to it. And also, the hope is that by having international's presence, it might deter, mitigate to some extent the violence which the settlers in the army are often prepared to use. This village, a few days ago, I was about a week ago now, a group of armed settlers, but it wasn't clear whether they were army or a settler militia because there's a great blurring between the two now, between the settlers and the army here. Came into the village, I think it was just after midnight when people were sleeping, not banging on the door, shouting, got everybody up out of their beds. A couple of the men were beaten when they tried to remonstrate with the settlers in the army. So I'm at this village now because, as I say, it's under constant threat. I was at a village over in not far from here called Sha'ib al Baton about a week ago, and two events happened there. The day we arrived, one of the outlying homesteads was attacked by a group of settlers. They completely ransacked the property, destroyed the water system, domestic water system, irrigation system, the electrics, tore down fences, and left a live bullet, with a very clear message that this is for you unless you get out. Later on that evening, we were in the village when a patrol of Israeli army turned up, probably about 12 of them. held all of the senior people, the senior men in the village, and the ISM volunteers, including myself, at gunpoint, kneeling, hand our heads while we were kept there for about an hour. And it was just part of a process of harassment and intimidation. I've been to villages where men have been beaten up, and settlers, together with the army, have come to the village, have stolen vital equipment.
Hold on, you're over there to witness stuff, and they don't care. And I mean, they know you're not from that area. You're there to watch that stuff's legal and above board, and they make you crouch, put your hands behind your head and threaten you with a gun.
Oh yeah. They would quite. I mean, we are at risk, but that's part and parcel of the solidarity that we're prepared to provide for our, Palestinians here at their request. We're aware of the risks. 1 week past Wednesday, we were shot at by an illegal settler and the army at the back of the guest house where we're staying in the village of Tunawi. You wouldn't believe this, but in the morning, about 10 o'clock in the morning, this bulldozer turned up with a settler and army in tow, and destroyed a piece of land belonging to our neighbour whose guest house we were staying in. This was done by settlers. They destroyed his vegetable garden, his olive trees. We were trying to document it to get as close as we can. We told to get back, and when we stood our ground, live shots, live ammunition was fired at us as warning shots. And if we hadn't retreated, we would have been all of us would have been shot. So they don't make any
no respect for your being a foreign national either.
No, not at all. Not now. It's changed. I mean, prior to the war in Gaza, I think things might have were a little bit different then. I think you knew that there were certain things that beyond which maybe the army wouldn't go. Settlers have always been, because some of them are ideologically motivated and they don't know any bounds. So things might have been a little bit more predictable then, but certainly not now. And I think a crucial factor is that there's a blurring between the settlers and the army, because many of the settlers have been called up to be reservists because of what's happening in Gaza, and they've been armed and have just been told to stay in their areas and guard their areas. So we've got these armed militias, settler militias, who quite happily will kill people. I mean, they've say since the 7th, 8th of October, I think there's over 200 Palestinians have been killed by settlers and the army.
Wow, I can't get my head around what's happened to you. I mean, you went there in on a sort of peaceful walk, and you found yourself in this situation. How long are you planning to stay?
Well, my visa, my entry visa into the borders are controlled by Israel. My entry visa to Israel lasts until the end of December. So I will stay until I want to be home for Christmas. So I'll probably stay until middle of December, providing something happens and I don't get deported or something before then. But that's the plan, is to stay till around about the middle of December. But I'm here with good comrades. We all share the same beliefs and the same commitment to this form of solidarity action. We're here at the request of Palestinians who are facing this type of terror every day of their lives, and have been doing for many of them since the occupation began in 1967. So it's just doing what we can really to show some solidarity, to bear witness, and also to be a protective presence as well.
And did you told me in the last time we spoke that there were Israelis as well who come and support Palestinians in the West Bank.
There's some very. You're right. Yeah, right, Crispin. Yeah, there's a group of very brave Israeli activists who are very often ostracized by their family or their communities for doing this. Who come over, and many of them have been doing it for a number of years, showing real practical solidarity with Palestinians in their struggle. And especially in this area, in the Hebron Hills, there's a solidarity relationship with Israeli activists going back about 20 over years. So very strong relationships have been formed between them and the Palestinian community. This evening, There are about 15 Israeli activists who are dispersed amongst another 3 or 4 villages tonight, doing the same thing that myself and my ISM colleagues are doing here, saying helping to provide a protective presence and to bear witness. So yeah, there's a good solid group of Israeli activists who are doing that here. At a great, often significant personal expense and personal sacrifice as well.
And so, how many people are there of your group?
Well, at the moment, there's only 4 of us from ISM in the West Bank. There would normally be a lot more than that, probably about 15 or 20 at any one time. But there's a group of people who are going to be coming over in October, but because of the war, they've been cancelled or for whatever reason they haven't been able to come. So there's only 4 of us at the moment. So we're prioritizing giving our support here in this South Hebron Hills, where there's a number of very, very, very vulnerable communities. So there's only 4 of us, but there's a bigger group. This bigger group of Israeli activists who we work very, very closely with.
Well, I really appreciate you talking at all, and I can't imagine how terrifying it must be for you. But you seem to be taking it in your stride. Just to let you know that in Newcastle last night there was a big protest outside a Labour Party fundraiser to.
I heard about it. Yes,
help people. You've heard about that.
I heard about it. Yeah, yeah.
And there's lots of protests going on here. Little ones, like impromptu, almost like out of nowhere. People are taking over train stations. And we're planning for one on the 11th of November. Hopefully, 1 million in London.
Wow!
So we're trying to do what we can over here. The media aren't covering it, but we're getting the word out there. I mean, it's growing. The opposition to the Israeli treatment of Gaza and the West Bank is growing. And people are much more aware of it now. So
that's really good to hear, Crispin. I think it's important for people in the UK to know that Palestinians here very closely monitor international news, and the fact that there is such an outpouring of solidarity across the world, including in UK, when there's been the massive demonstrations in London and as you say, Newcastle and elsewhere. People do see that, and it's very, very important for Palestinians to see that, because it makes people feel that they're not alone, they haven't been forgotten. Just reinforces that people's sense that their struggle has got support. So those expressions of solidarity are really, really important. They really are. They really are.
Well, I hope that this interview and what you've said as well is terrifying. I hope that it will encourage more people to come out as well, even more, and tell their friends and get more and more people, because we can't just sit and watch. We can't, like you. I mean, what you've done is incredible, and I really hope that you're safe, and we're all thinking about you. I'm sure people are all praying and hoping you're okay.
Thanks very much, Crispin. Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, and I really appreciate this opportunity to talk about what's going. I think there is a growing awareness about the ethnic cleansing and the violence. The escalating violence here perpetrated by settlers. There's a growing awareness of that. I think I've noticed that there's been more journalists on the ground here in the West Bank over the past week or two. So it is getting more coverage, which is really important, because I think the settlers are hoping they're just using the opportunity, if you like, provided by the war to embark on a huge land grab. And I think that the world isn't watching because everyone's focused on, the horrors and the genocide that's happening in Gaza. So it's good to know that what's happening in the West Bank is starting to get more coverage. It's really important.